forbidden door is back open. You probably thought we were done, or at least you gotten used to it, and then you were watching an episode of WWE programming, and they said, by the by, the Impact Knockouts champion, also known as Mickie James, is gonna be in the Royal Rumble. Well, just to get you even more pumped, there is a rumor out there that World Wrestling Entertainment isn't done with this yet, and maybe they're looking at some more names for the Men's Royal Rumble. Now, this could be absolute nonsense, but that's no fun. I choose to believe it as a massive nerdy fan. So these 10 non-WWE wrestlers may actually be in the second best damn match of the entire year. Why? Here's why. The first one, or in at number 10, is something that I have bought into hook, line and sinker because it ties into a tweet that basically went live about a week ago when Moose, the Impact World Champion, said, "Ha ha, Roman Reigns, I'm gonna kick your ass." He didn't say that, but that was his point. Now, I very much doubt WWE would do this, but then I go, well, wait a minute, if they could do it with the Women's Champion, why can't they do it with the men's one? And I just think this is a win-win. Like, WWE doesn't care if they had made a relationship, and not only is it really good for Impact Wrestling, but it would be damn good for Moose. It doesn't matter what you like or what you don't like, being in the Royal Rumble is a pretty damn good platform. And yes, I know he's not going to win the thing, and maybe he's over in there for 60 seconds, but sometimes it's just about getting people talking about you, and I would get to talking. So yeah, given that we are getting James, I am going to go all in with this one and say Moose is going to turn up as well. Maybe, I don't know, I'm just guessing, but wouldn't it be fun? And if we take that same line of thinking and apply it to number 9, then why the flub can't the current Ring of Honor World Champion also make his mark? And I'm talking about Jonathan Gresham. I mean, seriously, ROH are going to relaunch in April, but they're of no threat to WWE. And because of how the company has been restructured, I think anyway, I'm guessing here, Jonathan Gresham is free to negotiate with whoever the hell he chooses. So there's no middleman. It's just WWE talks to John and John talks to WWE. And if they can come to an agreement, they shake hands and away he goes. And admittedly, maybe this one is a little bit too niche, but there is a certain section of the fan base that consider themselves super hardcore, and every now and then, isn't it nice just to give them a pat on the head and scruffle their backs? I say yes. And as for number 8, I am going to go a little bit out of left field, but bear with me as I say one word: Danhausen. Now, it does seem like he will be going to AEW when he is healed up, and at the moment, given that he is still coming back from an injury, you may go, well, what the hell is he going to be able to do in the Royal Rumble? But that thing at times can be a massive spot fest. Pretty sure you could come up with something. And I know I would laugh my bald head off if this did happen, and again, you're also saying that Vince McMahon wouldn't know how to use Mr. Very Nice, Mr. Very Evil, but it's not about how WWE would book him, just about putting him in the Royal Rumble so we can all do a dance of joy because we don't believe it. And I also do think anybody in one of these spots would get a boost in profile. I mean, if you are a wrestling fan watching this, imagine your telephone rang right now. Vince McMahon said, "Hey pal, do you want to be in the Royal Rumble for 6.6 seconds?" I'd be like, I want to be in the Royal Rumble for 6.7 seconds because then I can come home and tell everyone, "Hey, did you see me that time? I was in the Royal..." You get my point. Back to Impact Wrestling now for number 7, because come on, man. Matt Cardona. He was rightfully pissed off when he did leave WWE, because I think a week after this they were like, "Matt, can we please come round your house and film at your pool?" Which was a little bit insensitive, but at one point it did seem like the then Zack Ryder was going to be a WWF lifer. He's also mentioned in interviews, "Man, if the time is right and I feel good, I will go back." So why not do a little bit of a one and done? Cardona is also having the run of his life at the moment. I mean, if you haven't seen what he's doing in GCW, what the flub is wrong with you? And I'm pretty sure he also said he's making a ton of more money. So whether he does this or not, I guess it doesn't matter. But imagine you had told anybody when he was in a wheelchair getting thrown off the entranceway by Kane that he would be one of the biggest heels in GCW. They wouldn't have believed it. So I am not going to believe that Zack Ryder could go back to the WWE for the 2022 Royal Rumble. And then at number 6, I'm just going to go silly. Like, do I actually think this could happen? No. But will I say 100%? Absolutely not. It comes in 2 words: Chris Jericho. I mean, he got on Stone Cold Steve Austin's podcast, which aired on the WWE Network, and given what's happened over the last few months, I doubt we'd be able to do that again. And my gut also tells me that Jericho probably wouldn't want to do this because he'd be worried about how he's going to get booked. and that one I can totally understand. But it would seriously broke the internet, and I've just bought into this now, and in fact, he should come out at number 30, toss Funaki out, because I also think Funaki should be in this year's Royal Rumble, and then he eliminates himself while singing Judas, because why the flub not? And let's go further afield for number 5, because there is another company that we never talk about when it comes to this forbidden door, and there's another name that has never made it to WWE, even though he probably should have had a run there. Nick Aldis. For one, he is the husband of Mickie James, so maybe that's how these conversations could start, but he's also the face of the National Wrestling Alliance in the modern day, so I'm sure a few people like me are like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Now, there is a long-standing rumor that maybe Nick and WWE don't get on very well, but all it takes is a nice little hug and we can get back on the same page. I think this one would work. And fair play for the amount of work he has put into the NWA's growth, but I'm repeating myself here. Do you know what a really good way to continue that growth is? Just say, all right, I'll come in WWE, but you've got to mention the NWA a few times, and then if someone does go to YouTube and type it in, their show is right there for free. That is a symbiotic relationship. Which is the same for the current NWA World Champion, Trevor Muir, in at number 4. And this would also help, but do you know what's better when it comes to this? Trevor Muir used to be in the WWE back in, 2004, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, whatever the hell he was. He was the tag team partner of Lance Cade, so you can tap into your history and go, ha ha, this guy is back. Where the hell has he been? Because WWE usually does that. Also, Trev is way better now than he was back in the day, so wouldn't it be nice for him to prove it to all of us? Not that he needs to do that on the WWE stage, but I'm just saying, I think it'd be quite nice. Which is almost identical when we talk about number 3, Chris Masters. Now, even though he is doing his thing as well in the NWA, this should be a guy that should be in the 2022 Rumble regardless. Last year it was Carlito, and that made me feel all warm and fuzzy in my tum-tum, but we haven't seen Masters in the WWE for ages, and we all remember him, and I think a lot of people like him, me included, so just do it for nostalgia. Masters is also a cut above these days, and seriously, I need this in my life. I loved it when he was doing the Master Lock, and it was like, oh man, look at my great cloak. So just do it, WWE, and put that one part of my life to bed. And who is in at number 2? Well, we going back to the past again, and politics. Christian. Now, on the one hand, if he was asked and he told them to flub off, I wouldn't blame him, because when he came back at the 2021 Royal Rumble, he didn't get the praise that he deserved. I mean, some people are like, oh man, great, it's Christian. It offended me because Mr. Cage is great. But also, when he was jumping back between the WWE and TNA way back when, we even did a deal after he had re-signed with Vince McMahon because they wanted to put Ric Flair into the Hall of Fame. So Christian then went back across to TNA. So it's not like this can't happen, which means it very well happen again. And I would argue the Christian stock right now is bigger than it ever has been, but of course, the real sticking point here is that this would be an AEW guy going to WWE, so much like Chris Jericho, it kind of just feels like the relationship is a little too bit freaky-deaky, so I wouldn't bet on it. And who does that leave at number 1? Well, I'm going to break my own list just to try and manifest something into existence, because I'm going with Walter. And I know he already works at WWE. He's just come over to America, it seems like full-time, to be part of NXT. But for flubbing's sake, move him onto the main roster, have him win the Royal Rumble, have him win the IC title, have him win the US title, World title, Universal Championship, hell, make him the Women's Tag Team Champions if you want. I need to see Brock Lesnar and Walter yesterday, and can you believe it, it's now today, and I still haven't seen it. I mean, the man is so damn unique, and he just doesn't have bad matches. He doesn't, and he's got himself into super shape, so he must be expecting something. So I get it. You're saying, Simon, this is about non-WWE guys. Well, for ages, he's kind of been a half in WWE and half out guy, so now let's throw him in the fridge, and when he comes out, let him win. That's right, I'll say it again. The damn WWE Royal Rumble. I don't think it is going to happen this year, but next year, do it. Do you know of any other non-WWE men or women that could be in the Royal Rumble? It makes me so excited in my tootsie toes. Make sure you let us know in the comments below and I will read them. And the dumber the suggestion, the better. Maybe I'll even come and give you a cookie. Then like the video, share the video and subscribe. Head over to whatculture.com where you can read articles like this. Follow us on social media to keep up to date with everything wrestling and who may be going into the Royal Rumble. And we have other videos, a lot that will also be about the Royal Rumble. Give it a click and watch. My name is Simon What Culture. Thank you for joining me as always. And for those crazy people that go, Simon, you're just making a speculation nonsense. It's called fantasy booking, man. You a geek, I'm a geek, we all geeks. Isn't it wonderful that we're allowed to do it? Yes, it is. Somebody put Moose in the Royal Rumble. Goodbye.